Welcome to this video, getting started with Piano Marvel for piano teachers. Really fast, let me go through some of the things we'll cover. First, getting started quickly using Piano Marvel in your studio or institution. We'll cover the certification option for teachers, becoming an expert the easy way. We'll cover getting started with your recommended equipment and setting up accounts for your students. And then we'll look at some of the highlighted features here that we're going to go through. Sight reading, lessons, videos, student motivators, and reports. When I was a young doctoral student in piano performance and pedagogy, I started teaching lessons on the side, and I noticed that my lessons were pretty effective when the students were sitting there with me. We'd get through a lot of materials and they would learn very quickly. And then I would send them home, and my hope was that they would practice efficiently away from me. I also hoped that they would have goal-oriented practice, which would make them super focused. What I didn't realize is that the parents had jobs and other kids, and teaching them piano lessons wasn't their first priority. Students also had homework and sports that kept them super busy. And I also noticed that even though they practiced well with me in the lesson, when they went home, it seemed like they didn't understand practicing skills like I thought they should, or as well as I did. So if I could keep the students with me all the time, they would be super practicers, but my time was limited. And so I started looking at lessons and I thought, where am I spending most of my time in my lessons? And believe it or not, watching students practice was the biggest portion of the time during the lesson. Now that may sound really strange, but let me explain. It's kind of a natural phenomenon because let's take this song for Elise, for instance. And I would pull this phrase where I'd get louder in the middle and softer at the edges. And then I would also use some rubato and some musical things that I would like to teach students. But what I found was their fingers just were tripping all over the place, and no matter what I said verbally, they couldn't do it until they had the notes under their fingers. And so naturally, I'd just wait a few minutes till they could get it. And then once it's under their fingers, then I was able to effectively describe how to pull a phrase. That caused what I call spoon feeding. I'd do a lot of spoon feeding in the lesson, but we would accomplish a huge amount during our lesson time. I came across this quote that said, "Time is more valuable than money. You can get more money, but you cannot get more time." And so I realized that my very most valuable commodity was my time, and I wanted to spend my time wisely. And so I started looking at this phrase and I thought, is there any way I can disprove this, that I can actually make more time? And so I decided I wanted to try to leverage technology in buying more time for me in the lesson so I can accomplish more. And I was going to focus on this, which is taking out some of the time that I was spending watching my students practice and spoon feeding them, and also when my students went home, how I could get them to practice more efficiently at home so that when they got to the lesson, they were able to learn more music. So leveraging technology, what I found is I found a way that the students could learn about 4 to 5 times faster. And there was this one teacher that I approached, and I told her this. I said, you could get your students to learn 4 to 5 times faster if you learn to leverage the technology. And so she did that. And about 3 years later, I approached her again. I said, do you remember when I told you that it was 4 to 5 times faster they'd learn their songs? She said, I remember, but for my experience, it was actually 8 to 10 times faster. And what I realized is she learned to leverage the technology a little differently than I had learned. And it made me think, this is not a magic software. This is not a magic technology. It's simply a tool. And in the hands of a master, they can accomplish more with this tool than in the hands of a novice. So I started looking at Piano Marvel and in ways that I would be able to leverage it better to help students learn faster. And I found a lot of things that I could do that this teacher was doing. And I created a course. Now the reason that I created this course was because I used to think I could explain Piano Marvel to teachers and they would get it and they'd see the big picture. And somehow magically they wouldn't have to go through the years of experience that I had in developing and learning how to leverage the technology. And I come to realize that every teacher goes through the same process of learning, just like students go through process of learning. And we came up with this really cool course where we talk about Skype lessons, tricks and tips. We talk about how to teach improvisation in the studio, how to use and incorporate composition, how to teach effectively in groups, how to motivate students to practice, how practicing efficiently is made really easy. So you can actually implement this super quickly now with your students with just some steps that I'll show you. Also, you make new friends and expand your network. It's a really cool course. And if you complete the course, I guarantee you will be proficient with some new practical skills for teaching. And what's really neat about this course is it's not just talk, talk, talk. We actually go in and we have assignments that you learn to own these skills very quickly, and then you implement them with students. And there's just a bunch of checklists of things that you go through. And I give you videos where you can learn. We talk with other teachers about what you're learning in that. The certification training course is $149. If you are interested in the course, email contact us at pianomarvel.com for information on how to enroll. Now, let's go back really quickly and give you some of these tips. Let's start with this getting started thing here, where the setup. What equipment should you get? This is my favorite setup because it's super simple. You get a digital piano and a computer, and you connect both the audio cable and the USB cable for MIDI. You can connect. I have my grand piano that's equipped with a piano scan. I love that. It's about $1,500 to $2,000 to get set up, but it is really cool because you have an acoustic piano that can connect to your computer. You could also set it up in a lab setting with headphones. I teach classes now, a lot of classes, and those are very, very effective. Also, if a student just wanted to set it up with a 61 key keyboard, that's totally possible, and I actually have most of my students start off that way. One thing that took me 2 years to figure out is my piano had an auxiliary input, so I could run the sound from my computer's headphone jack into the piano's input jack, and then all my sound would be boosted through the speakers on my digital piano, and I could plug in my headphones and hear both my computer and my piano through the same set of headphones. Those are just a couple tips that I like to share with teachers. Let's go ahead and I guess we'll start first by saying, how do you set up an account? Let's go ahead and go to pianomarvel.com, and I'll show you the page really fast. Let me zoom in a bit. You notice in the top right that there's this launch app button and another one, log into practice. That's where you'll actually log into practice. There's a create a free account here, which you can actually get to also from here. Let me show you how to do it. So over here, if it says put in your name and your password, you can click create a free account. That takes you to the same spot. Click create a free account. And I recommend starting first with the free account with all of your students. Put in your email, your name, and then a promo code. So the teacher code, if you're setting up your own account, don't put anything in here. If you're setting up your students, this will be your email address, and then you can that way you're linked to that student and then their promo code. So let's say I have a student here, fill this out, and then I put in my email address and then the promo code student. And then I click, I've read, I'm not a robot, create the account. And that'll bring you back to this page where you log into the account. And you have this remember me option where it'll remember your logins, and you can see my list of logins for my students. So if I had a student come in, I could just have them click on that. And I'll go ahead and click on that even though I'm logged in over here on this other one. I'm going to use this tab instead. And I'm logged in. And from here, I want to show you some of the features that you can use. First, you should really know the video helps. Take a tour, set up do your setup, and videos for teachers that go through a ton of really good videos that'll walk you through learning how to use Piano Marble, including the Sasser and how to use that. Over here, I have my library, my method, technique, and sight reading. And I split up my lessons basically into this 4 groups. The library is where I teach my students their recital pieces. The sight reading is where we take the sight reading tests and practice sight reading stuff. The method is the lessons, and the technique is also part of the lessons. And I like to use this ranking system over here. This is a leaderboard. So if you look at my method, you can see I finished it. Let me show you one of my students, for instance. So let's go to Joshua, for instance. We've got the method. He's ranked in 1,000th place of 137,000 people. If you open this up, you can see that he is all the way up to level 4D. And he's got everything perfected here. So he's working on Joy to the World next. He could also go and look at the leaderboard if he clicks this rank button, and he can see where he's ranked and who's ahead of him and who's behind. Now I use this stuff to motivate students, because what you'll notice when you start showing them how many people are in these clubs, you see Josh is in the 30,000 club along with another 2,300 people, almost 2,400 people. 2 more and it'll be that. Probably tomorrow we'll see that. You can see the 20 club, 7,000 people have made that, and the 10,000 club. But over here in the master, there's only 16 people in the world who have mastered it. And you can set that as a goal, and they'll start saying, I wanna reach these higher clubs, and let that motivation work for you. Harness that excitement in the student through these leaderboards. Another cool leaderboard is this day streak. If you click on this, you can see Josh is ranked 1,044. His best record ever was 16 days in a row. And you can see his current streak is right now 2 days. You'll be able to scroll up and see who's got the world's record right now. It looks like this Richard D. Nobody on the planet has accomplished 360 days at this point when I'm making this video. Looks like we're going to see that record broken pretty soon. In just about 30 days, somebody's going to reach it. So those are some of the reports that you can learn to leverage. Another one is going to be this practice minutes. How many practice minutes can you get in a month? And I'll show you some of the reports as well. But let's take a look at the library. Oh, actually the technique. The technique you'll see is in the same layout as the method, except that over here you'll see we're now working on scales, chords, sight reading, harmonization, transposition, and some different things that go along with the lessons. Hand exercises, choir warm-ups, and that sort of thing. And so if a student can get through level 6, they have mastered all their scales, chords, harmonization. There's just so many things that they've learned. Ear training. So that's why I kind of do method and technique. And then also the Sasser, which is the sight reading portion. A student can see where their sight reading score is, and they can see their growth. And they click start the test now, and it gives them options. I almost always start students at intermediate. Beginning goes extremely slow. Don't do beginning unless they're very, very beginners. Intermediate, start them on that one. If they just can't beat the intermediate, then drop them back to beginning. Also advanced. So if you feel like they're reading at a level 7, start them at intermediate anyway, and they'll quickly advance through level 7. You'll see how the Sasser works. It's actually a really cool sight reading tool. I can go into the reports and show you my sight reading students over here. Oh, actually I'm in Josh's account. I gotta log out. We'll log back into my account here. There was a faster way to log out. I should have shown you that. Logging in as students. So if let's say I log into a student over here, I can say log student out, and then I'm back to my account. Over here in the reports for me, I wanted to show you my sight reading students here. Sight reading. All right. So you can see here, it comes up with all of my best sight readers, and you can sort it from top to bottom. You can sort how many times they've taken the test, top to bottom. I can go through also and decide I want to just see who's taken the test between this date and this date, and click go, and you'll be able to see any scores if they've taken that test there. So lots of really cool things with just the sight reading portion of it. Let's go now to my favorite part, which is the library. There's two ways to get there, either through here or you can click on the library here. Now, why is this my favorite part? I want to show you the magic of this. I actually need to go through, let's go to the chopped one. You can see that a student can click on just this first star and there's a video that walks them through. There's a prepare button and assess, and I want to show you all three of these because this is how I train students to practice effectively. Again, I start first with the video, then the prepare, then the assess, and then I'm going to show you this thing over in the top left corner that shows their percentage completion in this song. And this is the thing I want to focus on more than anything, is that completion mark. If a student doesn't know a note, I show them that they can click on a note and it'll show them where it is. You can highlight it. I show them that you can slow it down, you can speed it up. I show them you can drop the accompaniment out, you can put a metronome on, you can select what portion you want to do. I just show them all the tools. The video, a couple of things that I show them, for instance, is if they click here, you notice it's now 2 minutes and 52 seconds in. If I click,
the rhythms for the first two measure and the rhythm for the last
I'll expand that to the full screen, show them you can do that. I'll show them the space bar.
two measures are exactly the same, and it
starts and stops. And then I'll show them a really cool trick that they may not know, which is the forward arrow on your keypad actually makes you go forward in the music, which is really cool.
goes like this: left, right, together, right, together.
So if there is a video and they can't read the song really well, they can go through and it'll train them how to read those. If they don't need the video or they're ready for the next step, I have them go to the prepare mode. So I click on prepare and notice when I play the note, it advances forward and it waits. This is kind of like a teacher pointing with a pencil to the note. And if they play the wrong note, it shows them that they played it wrong and it waits till they get it right and then they move on to the next part. Now over here is some really cool data. They can see that they got 6 notes wrong. It took them 21 seconds to do it. Their target time was 11 seconds, and they got a 66%. So I'll just have them keep doing this prepare mode. Now you notice I don't have to do it in time, but now I got 0 notes wrong, and I did it in 6.9 seconds, estimated my scores in 100%. So now I'm finally ready to do it in time, which is your assess mode. So click on assess, gives you a count off. I'll play a couple notes wrong here. So you can see how I was late on these notes. It shows me exactly which notes they were. You click on it and find out what they were. But the best part is it shows you this 85%. I'll play it.
Set. Go.
let me show you down here what this is doing. It gives me a check mark, basically, the star, at 42 beats per minute. If you ever had a student not want to practice slow, this is the solution to help them practice slow. I'll go to the next one, and now I do the same thing, but faster.
Set. Go.
And notice over here, I am now at 17% complete with this song. So this is a magic thing here. If I ask my student to text me, do an experiment every day, say, go home, practice the song, and see how far you can get on your completion percentage. Text me that score every night, and I want to see your progress and how well you do. That will be an eye-opener for you when you run through this. I would also highly recommend watching a student go through this process in your lesson so you can actually see where how it interacts with them. Once they finish this song, you'll be amazed how quickly they pour through their studies when they do that. So, what kind of things can you find in the library? Let's just take a look for Alfred. Notice how we've got the college books here. We've got group piano, we've got the all-in-one adult course, the whole premier course with all the levels. You can see how it's organized there. If you look for FJH, you can find a number of collections by FJH. There's tons of things in there for Hal Leonard. You can look up pop songs. So if I come over here to my genres and I say, I just want to look for a certain genre, let's look for popular, you see all the pop songs here. You can also do a title search. I need to clear all my reset my filters. You can do a search for, let's say Chopin in the composer. You can see there's tons of Chopin pieces, so you want to limit it and say, I just want to look at a ballade. You can see what ballades we have in there, or etude, and so forth, or you could say Beethoven. And notice Beethoven doesn't have any etudes in here, but he does have a lot of other songs. And any Bach. You can just do a search here for the composer, over here for the title. Over here you can see the grid and the list view. I like this list view. You can print the PDFs or watch the videos from here. All sorts of things that are really fun. Lots and lots of stuff in the library. We add probably 100 songs a week. Yeah. Over here you can do a search. Let's say search for song of the week. And you can see all the song of the week that go into this challenge. We have song of the week competitions and reports. You can do searches for duets and ensembles. Over here on the left, you can see these are my favorites if I've tagged them. Over here, you can see my solos. Any solos in the software, any duets, you can just say, I just want to see duets. And boot camps. Now, boot camp's something really interesting. If you've never done a boot camp, try it out. They've got some really, really cool things. What it is it's basically like a Sasser test, but if you click this available as a boot camp, you can say start the boot camp and it'll actually run you through these songs one at a time and as just sight reading stuff. And you can see when a student's done it, you can see their scores that they've got on all of those pieces. Really cool sight reading stuff that you should experiment with some of your students as you're beginning to learn this technology. A couple of other things I can show you here. You'll want to play around with this. This is create and upload your own piece. So if you have a piece that you want to upload, you can actually put your own piece in, and even better, you can chop it and mince it exactly how you want it. You can put in videos to train, and you can put in PDFs. You can even put in thumbnails. So if you go look at some of mine, I think my song, you can see I've got these little thumbnails that I put in, and you can share these students with your, sorry, you can share these songs with your students. So if I come over here and I say share, you just put in their email address, or you just say share it with all of my students. Some really cool things with that. This is all, of course, in beta, but we've been doing some really good testing. Any song you want in the world. Oh, if you do have a song that you don't want to put into MIDI or like a software, you can go to musescore.com and you can actually download some of those pieces that you find in MuseScore. Let's say you find a Chopin that's not in the software, you just click on that and you just download the MuseScore, the music XML for that. And then you can just upload that right to Piano Marvel with the MIDI. We have some videos on how to do that if you're interested. Last thing, let's look at the types of reports that you can run. Over here in the reports, you'll see a drop down here. I can run group practice minutes report and see of my students who's got the most practice this month. Looks like I've got a student with 757 up to this date. That's actually phenomenal. You will probably not find many of your students being able to put in that many minutes. And you can see which days they've missed, which days they've practiced. You can sort them by groups. So I've got a group called AIM. And the place that you do that is over here. You create classes and then you can drop them into whatever class you want. So you can organize your students into groups. A lot of universities use that for 101 or class 201. So that is just a beginning sample of what you can do. As you get started with this, just jump in, start doing stuff yourself, try to get a streak going, try to learn song in the library, maybe take a really difficult one and go through the chop slicing or the mince slicing, even better. Get through some of the method and techniques so you can see how the scales and harmonization and the lessons progress. Learn as much as you can, and then hopefully you'll want to be able to take that course. So remember, let me show you the course again. It is, I missed the slide. Here it is. Email contact us at pianomarvel.com for more information on how to enroll. Enjoy. If you have any questions or comments, comment on this video, and I hope you have fun with this and that you sharpen your skills and add more tools to your pedagogical arsenal.